There in Washington, D.C., the representative of 22nd Congressional District. As I see the role that we should have up in Washington, D.C. comes down to three levels. It's the economic security, energy security, and national security of the United States of America. And sitting on the two committees that I am currently a member of, the Armed Services Committee and Small Business Committee, I think it gives me a great opportunity to have that clear insight. One of my big concerns, of course, is the fact of our debt and our deficits. No doubt about that. $15.6 trillion in debt. That is right now about 102% of our GDP. We're going towards $16 trillion in debt by the end of this year, which will take that debt to GDP ratio to about 106%. And those numbers in itself are, pretty close to what you see happening in Greece, especially if you add in a lot of the unfunded liabilities, Fannie and Freddie and things of that nature. But most importantly, my true concern is when I look down U.S. Highway 1 or all across Palm Beach County, or even down in Broward County, the closed storefronts that we see of our small businesses. So we have got to do the things that are necessary for the tax and regulatory policies to enable those small businesses to once again open up those closed storefronts and get South Floridians back to work. Down here in South Florida, we still have an unemployment rate that is a little bit higher than the rest of the state, which of course is higher than the national unemployment rate, and also our foreclosures still remain high. So it's important that we have those policies that keep Americans in their homes, that keep Americans and get Americans back to work, and that's one of the focus we want to have definitely coming out of the Small Business Committee. But again, it is truly about the spending up in Washington, D.C., and I want to see us prioritize that spending and get it in the right places. The unfunded mandates, as you know, we continue to push down the states, has a trickle-down effect on our local government, our counties, and also our municipalities. So I think that's an important relationship that we need to make sure that we try to fix. As far as when you look at the agricultural community here in Palm Beach County, one of the concerns we have is the Farm Bill extension. We had an ag roundtable where we brought down a subcommittee of agricultural appropriations, Jack Kingston. We had a roundtable with the folks here in Palm Beach as well as up in Martin and St. Lucie counties. I would like to try to see to get that Farm Bill extended for 5 years. Don't know if we're going to be able to do that, but there are certain key issues that we've already written letters about. Canal Point was one of the issues, and also the citrus canker and the greening. That's one of the things that we want to make sure we get the research so we can continue to have a good and prosperous agricultural community here. There was also something that some of our growers brought up as far as the flooding of the tomato market coming out of Mexico, which is undercutting the market here for our growers, and we did write a letter on that over to the USDA. The next thing I think is so important that really affects right here in Palm Beach County, as you know, in 2014, maybe into 2015, you're going to see the Panama Canal expand. You're going to get bigger and larger cargo ships, and of course they're going to be looking at coming into the Port of Miami and the Port of Everglades, and that's why we've been working with the Port of Palm Beach so that maybe some of those small cargo ships that are being displaced from those areas can now find a good respite to come here to the Port of Palm Beach, as well as we're working with the new mega yacht facility, Rybovich, which will be opening up here, and we're trying to work with the Corps of Engineers and some other agencies to try to get that process smoothed out as best we possibly can because of the amount of jobs that will bring to this community, and then of course the second and third order jobs and effects that will have as well. Another thing we're looking at doing, working with the Lockheed Martin Naval Research Facility here, is seeing if it's a possibility when the Rybovich facility comes in, maybe we could get one of those littoral combat ships to have this as a repair facility. As you know, with the proximity of the Caribbean, there's nothing between Pascagoula and also in Jacksonville, and I think this would be a good place for that. So we're trying to look at those things down the road. Probably the most important thing that we were able to do and accomplish last year, which is really key to who we are, is the Coastal Communities Issues Forum that we have with the Corps of Engineers and some of the other state agencies. We're going to have another Coastal Communities Forum on the 24th of May. We sent out a letter to some of the members of the Commission here as well to be there, up there at the Florida Atlantic University campus in Jupiter. And I think that was really important because we brought the priorities to the core that this area wanted to see happen, and we were able to get a good funding amount for that. Of course, you don't have the earmarks anymore, so the most important thing is to make your case and make a prioritized case, and that's what we were able to do. So I'll ask that you would support that Coastal Communities Forum on the 24th of May up in Jupiter at the FAU campus. So once again, we can bring the priorities of Palm Beach County to the forefront with the Corps of Engineers and make sure we get the priority of the funding. And with that being said, that's pretty much so the update that I want to present to you all. And what are your questions?
Thank you, Congressman, for the report. And we do, I guess, we'll start with Commissioner Marcus. I apologize for being late.
That's okay. You can do push-ups later.
Yeah, okay.
On that coordination, what you're doing up at Jupiter, are you working with DEC on that? Because I'm sure you're aware that...
Yes, we're trying to bring in DEP, and also we're trying to bring in the Florida Inland Navigational District as well, so that we can get that synergy from the federal level and also the state level. Because you're right, there are a lot of little bumps in the road, even if you do clear the Corps of Engineer hurdles with the DEP here at the state level.
Well, he's actually doing the same kind of forms. I think his is on the 15th or 16th of May, and so I think you're moving in the same direction and perhaps coordinating the two types of events. And instead of the push-ups, I'll just chase my 5 grandkids.
That's even better.
That's okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
That's good PT.
Commissioner Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would just like to thank you for your work with the Port of Palm Beach. As you know, I was a commissioner there prior to whatever I did in the future, but I know you've been working with them, getting them ready, and they have only said good things about you and your participation with what's going on there. So I'd like to thank you, and hopefully you will continue working with them as we move forward, trying to make the changes necessary. The only thing I think probably is an issue is that Corps of Engineers as far as the dredging, and I don't know if you've been on top of that one. If not, I would like to encourage you to do so for us.
Absolutely, and you know, that's part of the issue with the Rival Beach Mega Yacht Facility, and we have cleared the hurdle with the Corps of Engineers. Now it's with some things with the DEP, but you know, one of the things we have to look at, 70% of the mass of the earth is ocean, and we have to start looking at how do we capitalize on the sea lanes of commerce. And with the facility that we have there, and of course, the fact that most of the sugar that is exported out of this area takes care of the eastern coast of the United States of America, goes all throughout the Caribbean and over to the Bahamas. You know, we've got a great resource there we have to capitalize on. And once again, it's about how do we create the economic opportunities to promote job growth and overall economic growth, and second and third order growth for those small businesses that can taper off of that. And I tell you, one of the things I think we need to have, you know, we don't even have a Starbucks up there at that port facility. So one of the sad things is here you come to, you know, catch that cruise to go out to the Bahamas, and where do you get a cup of coffee? So just, you know, small things like that can mean a lot.
Commissioner Santamaria.
Yeah, I just want to follow up on Commissioner Taylor's statement regarding the Corps of Engineers and their work on Okeechobee Lake. As I'm sure you're aware, it's really been very poor. As far as I'm concerned, the Corps of Engineers are lagging behind in their work, and it's really seriously negatively impacting the economic situation in the Glades. And I hope you do everything you can to nudge them and get them working a little more expeditiously, because the Glades really needs help along those lines. The Tri-Cities are seriously impacted by the slowness and I think inadequate work of the Corps of Engineers. So I hope you'll do something about that.
Well, you bring up a great point, and that comes back again to the economic situation you find with our debt, and you know, what really are the priorities? What are the proper roles and responsibilities for the federal government? So I think that's the big question we have. You know, I sent a letter to the appropriations chairman back last year, you know, asking out of the 12 appropriations bills, you know, what is our number one priority? And no one can answer that. And I think that's the most important thing, because when you start talking about these infrastructure projects, which the Corps of Engineers is in charge of, that's one of the key things that should be happening. You know, you all cannot run your county like the federal government is running. We have 4 straight years of $1 trillion plus deficits. And right now, if we don't turn things around, we may continue to have $1 trillion plus deficits. And so, you know, if we don't get that spending issue, if we don't have the focus on the right resources, I know what you're talking about, getting that flow and the proper flow of the Everglades, you know, that's important, not just as an ecological system, but also it's important for, you know, our growth in our communities out there.
Commissioner Santamaria, do you have any more questions?
It was my understanding that the money is there. It's just that the work is not progressing as people would want it to progress.
Well, some of the money is there, and there is an issue with their work being done, but I think it really does come down to a prioritizing of that funding. So I will continue to talk to Colonel Pantano, who is responsible for that. He will be departing going to Afghanistan, and we will also pick up and talk to the new Jacksonville District Corps of Engineering Commander as well.
Okay, thank you. And I just hope you'll impress upon them the urgency.
Well, we used to wear the same uniform as those guys, so I think that won't be a problem.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Abrams.
Madam Chair and Congressman, welcome, greetings. And I certainly appreciate all your work on the issues of county concern, such as the beach renourishment and the issues that are important to our coastal community. Another issue that you and your office have been working on that I thought I'd put a plug in for is trying to find an inexpensive way to expand the customs hours at the airports, both Palm Beach International Airport, but even down at Boca Raton Airport. They're talking about maybe having an on-call customs agent available, because that, of course, is a federal responsibility, customs, and beyond that will help our tourism industry and our business climate in order to have greater availability so that those people can take advantage of our airports and come in and do business and vacation here in the county. So I want to press you on that, and hope you'll continue working on that. And as well, want to thank you for all of your, well, let's put it this way. When you were running for office, someone told me that you're a national figure and we'd never see you in Palm Beach County if you were elected. And I want to tell you that even though you aren't known to make a national headline here and there, that we do see you quite regularly, particularly in my district, which overlaps with a lot of your district in Palm Beach County, at some of the smallest local events, Lantana's 100th birthday, or dedicating an ambulance over at Boca Point. And I know that our municipalities and our mutual constituents really appreciate that outreach to them and that effort to be there for them. And so I want to certainly commend you for that.
Well, I appreciate it, and that's part of representative government. And you always have to remember from whence you came. And getting back to the border customs issue, we met with the Miami District Commander 2 weeks ago at the Port of Palm Beach, and we talked about staffing levels, and we're sending a letter up to the Department of Homeland Security because I think we need to prioritize this area. When you look at the economic impact, and when you look at the flow of travel and personnel, we need to get more staffing down here, or we need to see some type of way it can be facilitated, maybe by us assisting them with overtime costs or on-call or something of that nature. You're welcome.
Thank you. And I just would like to reiterate about Lake Okeechobee and the surrounding Tri-Cities. We have had tremendous difficulty in trying to address the housing problems that we have there, the business issues that we have there because of the ongoing work around the dike. So if I had to pick, and I think we've had a number of meetings with the Army Corps regarding that issue, it is something that is too big for the county to deal with alone.
Absolutely.
And it's actually too big for the state to deal with it alone. So I believe most of my colleagues all are hopeful that with our continued leadership of you and the rest of the congressional delegation, we can get some attention to the entire economic situation out there that is interconnected with housing and the water and the dike and the Army Corps. So that would, if you can help us with that, that would be absolutely wonderful. So thank you so much for coming.
Thanks.
We appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Have a great day.